Honourable Member, I'm not exactly certain how you obtained the piece of information that you have. I was advised by my cable officers, and I did make a decision based upon a precedent as cited in the order decision that I made. And I would ask that
Mr. Speaker, no. You made the ruling before you heard people make their arguments. That's a fact. This was printed out before people stood up in this House and made their arguments. I know, because I had it in my hand. It is in Hansard. This is not the way you run a legislature, Mr. Speaker. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. I know you're unhappy with me, but I'm unhappy with you. Will you make a ruling before you hear the evidence?
Honourable member, would you please sit down?
No, I will not. Not unless you reverse your ruling, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member.
I will not sit down unless you reverse your ruling.
Honourable member, respectfully, could I ask?
I will not sit down unless you reverse your ruling. I'm happy to explain this in the front page of the newspaper tomorrow.
Honourable member,
I will not sit down unless you reverse your ruling.
I'm asking you one final time if you would sit down.
My answer will not change, Mr. Speaker. I will not sit down unless you reverse your ruling that you made before you heard the evidence presented.
Honourable member, I received this handed to me by one of the pages. Lest there be any suggestion that I had any notice of this coming to me, I did not. I did not receive this, and I am curious how this was received by you. That's another matter that needs to be discussed in the House in terms of practice here. You can only accept the word that I saw this at the same time. Finally, therefore, you've made your motion, your request is conditional that I sit down. And I'm sorry, unless you sit down, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the House.
Mr. Speaker, I will not sit down unless you reverse your ruling.
Then I must ask that you leave the House now. Would you do that?
You need to reverse your ruling, Mr. Speaker. This is not how it should be done. Rulings should be made after hearing the evidence, not before. I had this typed up in my hand before the evidence on the motion
How does this sound?
point of order was even presented.
As I continue this conversation with you, Honourable Member, in this particular context, I recognize that we are breaching the past precedent and practice of this House as I understand it. It seems to me, sir, that you ought to sit down so that we do not have to ask you to physically leave the place.
If you change your ruling, I'll be happy to sit down.
I'm not sure that you can, as an honourable member, can hold the House, which the Speaker represents the entire House, to a condition on a point of order. And that's, in fact, what I understand you are doing, honourable member. You're asking the House, which the Speaker represents, it's based upon a belief, an allegation, that the Speaker's honour has been brought to bear. You're saying that the Speaker received a ruling from staff prior to my making a decision. You can accept or not accept my word. I can only give you my word as an honourable member. I received this now from the page.
I believe I'm upholding the dignity of this House.
By doing so, sir, yes, please, honourable members, one final time, could I respectfully ask that you either sit down or leave the House?
I will sit down when the ruling is reversed.
I'm afraid I cannot do that. I would ask that you respectfully leave the House with the Sergeant-at-Arms.